Hello everyone, this is Afsar Ali. So this is a continuation of our WebDriver IO version 7 with Cucumber video series where we have done two video already. So please go and watch two videos already that is being in my YouTube channel. So this is the part 2, and also you can find the link to the part 1 as well. And also I'll be providing the part 1 and part 2 links in the current video descriptions as well. All right. So the today's agenda is Cucumber steps set up in VS Code. So we'll be setting up some configuration file for VS Code so that we can navigate from feature file to step definition file. When you click in the feature file, then you should be able to navigate to step definitions. Then the next thing that we'll be covering up is Allure reports in this video, and then code refactoring. So whatever we have done, like 4 scenarios, we'll be doing some code refactoring on that, and we'll be also using the util module, a separate module that we'll be using to store our data, test data that we did in previous videos. We saved into global variables in a WebDriver wdio config.js file. Instead of that, we'll be using another separate util module or separate JavaScript file. There will be saving all our test data. Then we'll be reusing those test data. Then we have Cucumber tagging. So we'll see how we can tag feature files and run dynamically from command line based on the tags. All right. So we'll see this. These are the things that we'll be covering up. All right, so before starting into the details, let's just quickly review what we have done so far, right? So if you see here in the online shopping.feature file that we have written 4 scenarios. The first scenario was to create the sign up new user in this website, all right? Then after that, after the user is being created, we sign in using that credential. All right. Then the third scenario was to check out, add some product to the cart, then check out, right? Then the fourth scenario was to contact customer care service for previous successful order, whatever we have done, the order here, we contact the customer care and just send a request to refund for this particular product that we have bought, right? So these are the 4 scenarios that we have done so far. You can find the code for those two videos in here. So class 1 and class 2 is, you can just select those and you can get the class 2 specific test that we have worked on in the video 2. All right, so here you can find, so I'll be providing this link into the video description. All right. For this particular video, I'll be creating one more branch over here, YouTube class 3, right? So whatever we are gonna do in this particular video, you can find those in class 3 branch, right? All right, so let's get started with our VS Code setup for the feature file. So if you see here, normally in IntelliJ or Eclipse IDE, from feature file itself, you can navigate to the step definition, right? But in VS Code, it's a little difficult to navigate. So if you uh, click on this step definition, it's not going anywhere, right? It's not also showing anything over here. So to set up those to navigation to the step definition file, so you need to do certain things, right? So the first thing you need to do is you need to install one plugin. So I believe you already have this plugin, Cucumber plugin, right? Let me just search for that plugin. I already installed. I think this is the one. Okay. So given when then. So just search for this particular plugin in the VS Code. So you need to go here, then search for Cucumber and install it. Okay. So once you have installed that particular plugin, then certain things that you need to do. Here also you can go to the documentation over here and you can get those information what need to be done. right? You can also read a little bit what the things being covered over here, and what all APIs it is exposing for this particular plugin. All right. So in my case, I'll be doing a simple thing over here. I'll not use the complex settings. Okay. So what I do, I use this default recommended settings for my case. So what you need to do is you need to create one folder in your current directory, okay, where your project is available in this directory, WebDriver IO Cucumber in my case. So what I do, I just create one folder called dot VSCODE. All right. Once you have created that folder, within that you need to create one more file according to this um, guidelines. So what you need to do, just create one more file within that .vscode folder. The folder name is settings.json. Okay. Once you create that folder, within that you need to copy paste whatever you see here. Okay. Whatever you see over here, just copy paste. So in my case, I have already here. So a couple of things that also I have added. Okay. So yeah, here is the first thing that I have is Cucumber autocomplete steps. So this is your step definition files path you need to provide over here. So in my case, the path is feature, then step definitions. All right. Then yeah, there is no folder. So in my case, like this step definitions folder, within this I have all the step definition. So star.step.js, meaning whatever the name star means, it will allow all the names ending with .step.js. Correct? Fine. So the next thing is strict gherkin completion is true. Then we have sync feature. So in here also you can see within the feature folder, I have this feature file. Okay, so if I have another folder for feature file or something, then you need to write down those feature paths also, right? So it will take all the feature file present within this directory ending with dot feature. Okay, then yeah, this is a smart snippet true, then step invariant true, then on type format. These are the things that I have used. But in your case, if you don't use also, it should be okay. If you just use this recommended one, okay, yeah, no need to use. I think this one. If your step definition file is present within node module, you need to write. Otherwise, no need. Okay, yeah. So once I save it, then I think you need to restart your VS Code. Let me see if this works fine or not. So let's go to our feature file. Let's see whether, okay, see, this is working fine now. If I go to another scenario and I just go here, you can see it's navigating correctly. Then the next thing that we gonna cover is Allure report. So currently we don't have any reporting except the spec reporter, which we can see the pass and fail a number of scenarios in the console itself, right? So that is not that much helpful. So we need something that can give us some reporting files like HTML report. Okay, so for that we'll be using Allure report. Okay, so in the WebDriver IO documentation, you can just go to reporter section, okay, within the docs. Then the first one is the Allure report. Okay, go with that. Then you need to install this WDIO Allure reporter package. Okay, just copy this, or you can just copy this and paste in the dev dependency, but you can also install from the command line. Okay, so you can do like this. Save dev means it will save within the dev dependency. Okay, we'll just copy this and we go over here, open in terminal, then npm install save dev, and you should see it should be within the dev dependency. Okay, now it's being added over here, so we should see Allure reporter over here. Okay, so this is the latest Allure reporter is being added. All right, so now the next thing that we need to do is once that is being done, so we need to go to here in the reporter section, we need to add this Allure. Okay, so we can do just copy from here and I go to this wdio config file. So currently I think we do have spec reporter. If I go here, reporter section. Okay, if you see here, this is only the one reporter. So this is the array. So what we can do, we can use like this. So this is the output directory. It will create one folder over here when we complete this run. It will create one folder within this directory called Allure results. All right. So all the results, all the XML files or JSON files will be saved into this Allure result. So after that, we'll be running one command to generate our Allure report. Okay. For that, we need Allure command line as well. So for that, you need to install something as well. Okay. So if you go down a little bit, you can see this Allure command line. So just install that to generate the report. Basically, this one will generate all the XML file or the screenshot. Everything will store within this Allure result directory, but it will not generate the HTML file that will we need it, right? So for that, you need Allure command line, and this is the one which will be generating our HTML report. Okay, so yeah, that is being added already. Control S. Okay, so what I can do instead of here this, okay, I can also write somewhere else. So to make it more readable, right? Okay, so I just added Allure config over here, and same thing I'll be just referencing over here. Um yep. So no need to write this all thing over here. I'll just write Allure config. All right. Then the next thing that we need to do over here, let's see. Okay, so this is done. Output directory. Then there are a lot of other things as well available, so we can explore more on those later on. So for this, I will just generate a simple Allure reporter. Then we can also add label, add feature. We'll try some of them in this current video. Then we have this thing we need to add as well. Okay, we are using ES6, so I'll just use this. Uh, if you want to add any feature file name, or if you want to change something, you need to import it in here, and you can also use within your hooks. If you see here, we have before scenario, after steps, those kind of things. So there you can also use those reporter if you wanted to log a particular things in the report itself. All right. So for that you need to do just import it. Allure reporter. You can see there are a lot of things available within this Allure reporter. So similar to like log4j, we do have loggings, right? So similar way we can write over here. Suppose within this before starting anything, you can also add anything like any steps or any suit name, anything would be okay. All right. So for example, I can just add some label. Okay. What I can say. initial configuration or something like that, or you can write anything. All right. Then similar way, I can also use in the before feature if you want to add certain things. Maybe let's see attachment. Also, normally we do after step attachment of the screenshots, etc. So that also we can do in after step, right? And also here add step. Here I can see, can write something like the step name starting feature. Okay, so you can write the feature name, feature dot name. I believe this is the one, uh, right? Something like that. Also, you can add anything. Suppose Allure report dot. Uh, you can add also test ID if you are using the before feature, right? Or before scenario. Normally we will write it. So if I go to the scenarios before step and after step should be after scenario, and what is the before scenario? So you can add something like this, severity, a lot of things available. You can explore more on that as well, right? Based on the requirement, we can do the logging. So this is here. Also similar way we can do in the step definition as well. For example, I can go here in the step definitions files. All right. So I just need to import similar way this one. All right. And right over here. So once that is being done, you can add the logs as well over here. Okay. Like add label, add steps. So this would be the step name. You can write uh, something, some meaningful name you can just add. Okay. Here. Yeah. So let's see how it works. If I run it, will it work or is there any error? So before running that, let's do one thing. I do npm I first to install everything. Okay. Okay. Now let's run the test and let's see what happens now. Okay. npm run test. Okay. You can see there is a folder Allure results is being added automatically. Now running our test. I'll just fast forward this. Okay, it's completing. Okay, now you can see all my tests got passed and let's see within this Allure results. You can see there are a lot of files like XML files. Okay, so these XML files basically contains all the information about the test that we just now ran for these labels and everything you can see over here, parameters, which browser and which scenario got passed or failed, etc. Right? So with this XML file, we won't be able to know what is going on, and because there's a lot of XML file generated, we don't need this for the video, for the representation. Okay, if you want to share with anyone, then this XML file will make no sense. Okay, so for that, what we need to do, we need to generate using this XML file, we need to generate one reporter. For that, if you see here in this command line, we added already npm I allure command line. Okay, so if you haven't done, just install that. Then what you need to do over here is just write this. Okay, you need to copy here and paste it in package.json. Okay, so there is a new script you need to create. Maybe 1 second. So yeah, generate a report, something like that. Okay, so if you add this command, Allure generate Allure report directory, output directory, you can just provide. So this output directory, it would be the same as Allure results. Okay, so make sure you provide this correctly. Allure results and open. So basically, after result is being generated, then it will open as well in your default browser. Okay, then no need to do anything. So let's run that command. Need to run npm run. Okay, this. So it will generate the report first. You can see here this Allure report folder is being generated, and also it will open here. Okay, now we can see this nice report over here with the 20 test cases. Here, all the feature files available. Okay, sign up, sign in, and you can see if there are any retries, everything. So very nicely representation is very nice over here. You can see also graphs. Okay, if you run multiple times also, it will accumulate all the results and you'll also be very nice in that case. Okay, so here I think the severity we added only one medium, so that's why it's showing. Okay, so basically you need to add severity as critical, normal, minor, or trivial. So we added I think medium. So need to make sure you need to add the correct here severity. So that's why it's taking normal. So if you add it critical, okay, so you will see here then the critical as well. Okay, right. So basically you don't need to write in the before scenarios because every scenario it will make it as critical or something. So you need to make sure you need to add it in a correct location. So basically you need to do maybe you can read the feature file name, then based on the conditions you provide whether this is particular blocker, critical or normal, or you can go ahead and check in the step definitions and do here. Maybe I can add that critical over here. Okay, so this is the severity is very critical, and we can also add maybe the next one. Login using newly created account is minor, for example. Okay, so yeah, you can add those as well. Make sure you import that Allure reporter from this. All right. Then need to, yeah, you can see the duration of each of the feature files, how much time it took. Categories also you can make sure. There are a lot of APIs available, right? With the you can see over here. So in it, if you add those, right, and then you can see more and more information over here. So let's see how we can attach the screenshot to this other report. All right. Okay. So for screenshots, you need to make sure this disable WebDriver screenshots reporting false is should not be in a disable mode, right? Then then you need to make sure wherever you want to take the screenshot, you just need to call this browser.take screenshot. Automatically, it will append those screenshot into our reporter itself. Okay, so yeah, let's go over here. So make sure you are writing disable WebDriver screenshot reporting to be false, this one. Okay. And also use Cucumber step reporter. Just make sure it's true. You can add. And if you want to add those console logs or whatever you see in the console, if you want to show in the report itself, just make sure it's true. Also, you can add, I think the report over here. Okay, in the after step, in each steps, right, it will take the screenshots. You can also do something like if the result equal to fail, then only take the screenshot, or if it is pass, then you can add based on your condition. Also scenario, based on the scenario also you can take the screenshots as well, right? So those information available over here within this result. Okay, so it will take the screenshot, and let's run this. Let's see whether this is working fine or not. Okay, I'll just fast forward this also. Okay, all the scenario got passed. Now let's generate our report. So I'll just copy this one, then npm run generate report. So it's saying is one report already available within here, so you need to clean it. So for that, just add this clean in this after this Allure results. Okay, so what it will do, it will delete the existing folder, and after that it will generate the new one. Okay, now if I run again, it deleted, and I just created the other report again. Okay, so now you can see the test got passed. Now we should be able to see the screenshots for each of the scenarios. Okay, if I go here, overviews, maybe this scenarios. Okay, so if I go for the first scenario, okay, within the suites, and I go here, this is the console logs because we added console logs as well. If you see in the WDIO config here, okay, add console log. So whatever the consoles log that you'll be doing, you can also see here in that within that step definition. So the next step is a sign up page. You can see here in after step we have this screenshot capture, and also the console logs if available. Similar way, here you can see the screenshot attached. So for each of these scenarios, you can able to see the screenshots. Okay, so if you want only when the test fails, then only you want to do, then also you can do that based on some conditions over here. This result equal to fail. Okay, so something like that. Okay, so here we can see if it is if. Okay, something like that we can do. You can see it's a boolean, it's returning the boolean. So result dot passed, I think it's failed also, or maybe error. Error meaning error stack if scenario got failed. Okay, no, I think I need to check for the error is passed. So it will just check whether this is passed or not. So if it is not passed, okay, not passed, then take the screenshot only in that case. Okay, so you can do like that. And if you want to log those error as well, okay, you can also log that as well. I think a report uh, reporters, Allure report. Okay, yeah, based on this, uh, okay. So what I do now, yeah, let's make one of the test fails, then we will see whether this is working or not. So for example, here instead of 3, I'll use 4. Okay, so this particular test should fail because of this validation that we have. Okay, let me run it quickly. npm run test. Okay, okay, let's pause here. Okay, now you can see uh, two failed. Okay, these two got failed because of this expected 4 received 3. Okay, expected basically should be the 3 and 4 because we change over here. Now we'll see the report. Okay, now let me generate the report. npm run generate the report. Then we should see the screenshot in this case only, I believe. Yeah. All right, so now you can see this is one of the tests got failed, and in the graph also you can see this is the minor change. This is nicely viewed. This then I go to the suite. Then here expected to equals. Then I should see data tables. Okay, so for Cucumber also you can see the data tables. Okay, here the data tables is there. I think the screenshot does not capture. Okay, let's retry. Okay, I think the screenshot is in here because okay, it got captured in here instead of okay. Basically, this is in and it should be in this particular scenario. Not scenario. I think this is the step only. TC003, right? Yeah, should be here. In this case, after this particular step, it should capture the screenshot, but seems it captured in here when it try to execute the next scenario, the given. Okay, yeah. So yeah, it's kind of weird, but still not sure on the Cucumber. Maybe there are some enhancement needed on this part. All right, so you can see the screenshot in this case only. In other cases, you won't see the screenshots. Okay, fine. So yeah, this is how we can use this Allure report, and we can add many more available APIs for this here. Okay, you just need to go to this particular API documentations, or maybe its official documentation, Allure's official documentation. So you can go and you can check many more things. All right. Okay, let me summarize what we have done so far. So the first thing what we did is the navigation in the VS Code. We added this VS Code setting.json. Then after that, we did Allure reporting. All right. Then we added this screenshot for the failure scenarios and past scenarios, and also we added this config, right, for the Allure. You need to make sure this, you need to disable WebDriver screenshot reporting false. If you do not want to capture the screenshot, make it true. Okay. And this is add console log. If you do not want console log, just make it false as well. Okay, the next thing that we'll be doing is some code refactoring of, if you see currently how we have done our test, right? So in the first scenario, if you see, we are creating the account, username and password, then we are saving into some global variable, right? If you see in the WDIO config here, in the before feature, I believe, or after feature, let me see here. If you go down a little bit, if you could remember, in the before feature, we have this empty global.shared variable. Okay, so this is one object we have defined, and later on we are just assigning some of the test data to those objects, and we are reusing this particular variable over here. if you go to step definition, auth step, right? When we create a new account, okay, we save those fake data, first name, last name, company name into address object. Okay, then that address object we are assigning to this global dot shared variable dot address, which is same as here this object, which is present in the shared variable. This is the top level object. Within that we have another object, nested object. Okay, so instead of using this kind of variable over, if you imagine if we have hundreds of variable, then you'll end up writing a lot of variable over here within this object, and it will be uh, not readable, I would say. It is not a best practice also to write over here. So what we'll do, we'll remove this shared variable from here and we'll just add it in some other package. Okay, so for that, what I do, I'll just create one more maybe folder called utils. Okay, within that, I create one more file called util.js. All right, so this is the util.js file within this util folder. And here, what I need to do is let me add something like let my dynamic, okay, because we are creating the test data, right? Dynamic data equals this is the one object. Okay, I can write the same thing whatever present there. Okay, and then I have address. So this is also empty object. We can reference this. Okay, so in JavaScript, you need to, if you are using this object, you need to export also. So I can do module dot exports. Okay, and I can export dynamic data. Okay, so yeah, for now, instead of using this global shared variable, I'll just comment it now. I'll not be using from here. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to import this util JS module in my step definitions first. Okay, so here, what I need to do, uh, import utils from here, the util package. All right, so this is my util, and instead of global variable, I can use just utils dot dynamic data dot email. Similar way, I can use this also over here. All right, so this is address present in here. And the same way that we can also, because wherever we have used that global variable, we just need to add that dynamic data just now we created in here. All right, so if I go, I believe we have used in the sign in and yeah, in here I believe we used it somewhere in email creation as well. Let me find it here. Uh, okay, so in the commons, we don't have contact. We do have here. Okay, so just need to replace this. For that, we need to just import this util package. Then similar way, we can just replace in here. Utils dot dynamic data dot email. Similarly, we have in the my account page.js also, we need to use that. Okay, so just import that util, then just replace this global shared variable dot dynamic data dot address. Okay, so here also I'll change this dynamic data dot address to, and here also need to change it. And in this case also I need to change it for the name, first name, last name. And I think that's pretty much. In this product page also, let's see if there is any where we use shared variable. Yeah, we use it here. So just replace this. Okay. So everywhere just replace this dynamic data shared variable. Uh, yeah, and also you need to import that utils package. Import utils from utils. This is the one. Okay, so let's see because we already commented out this particular code from here. Okay, let's see whether this is working or not. And before that, I think I need to uh, make sure this is 3 because last time we just added something to test for the earlier report. All right, so now let me run this particular test. npm run test. Okay, so let's see whether is there any issue. Account got created, sign out, then it will try to sign in. Okay, there is some issue. Let's see, because of that change, I believe property email is not defined. It is in sign in with newly created account. I believe I need to change some in somewhere in here. Step definition. I'm in home page. Utils dynamic data. Create an account. So this is email. Add product to online cart. Checkout. It is when login is in newly created credentials. Okay, the first one is okay. When login with newly created credentials. Oh, okay. So you can see here, still we are using the old one. Utils dot dynamic data dot email. Okay. So in here, I believe should be that's all. Let me try to rerun. Okay, login successful. Seems working okay so far. Adding to the cart. Okay, so yep, so far so good. Okay, I think the third scenario got completed now. The fourth scenario, that is for the customer care related. Okay, so that is also done. So I think all tests got passed now. All right, so no need to write over here. So what I do, I'll just remove that from before scenario and we can have in here. Okay, this util object. So also we can do one more object creation over here. So if you see in here, right, what we are gonna do is because this scenario is dependent on this and this one is dependent on this. So what we'll do in BDD normally each scenario should be independent to each other. So even if I directly want to run only this, it should work okay without depending on this account creation and all. So uh, what we can do, we can have a certain email ID that is being generated, right? We can use those to create the product, to purchase the product, and also to check whether the sign in is successful or not. All right. So those kind of scenarios we can directly hard code similar way that we have done on here using data table. We just use username and password which is already exist, and we can sign in and then create the and um, and purchase the product. All right. So similar way. So for this one also, no need to use this shared variable to get the data, right? So for that, what we can do also, we can either share those credential from in here feature file, or maybe we can have one another object, all right, which is called static data. Okay, so yeah, so this is the static data, and we can also export that, and we can import that as well wherever needed. So meaning, so first this scenario will be storing uh, those username and the address details in dynamic data, okay, in the dynamic data set. But for static data, we can hard code over here only, okay, some email ID and all. And for the address also, we'll hard code over here itself, right? So for this scenarios where we are validating this address informations, or where we are validating the sign in is successful or not. So in this case, we no need to get the data from the scenario one. Okay, so we can get the data from the static data itself, or you can also use the data table over here where we can pass those username and password or the address details also. Okay, so let's do with the static data itself. Okay, this is the static data. I got it from here in the previously created account. Okay, so the same name, email, first name, last name, then company address and address too. So this is the static data that we'll be using in our feature file itself. Okay. So this two scenario will be using the dynamically created the details from the Faker API. But in this last two scenario that we'll be using is to get the data from the static data from here. Okay, what we need to do is we need to modify this sign in functionality. Then wherever you are using this data, the comparison, the address and the email, will need to change it whether this is for the static or dynamic. So for that, what we can do is go to the third scenario itself. Then we can see whether I'm on the sign in page, so no need to check anything because it's going to the sign in page itself. In here, if you see, login with newly created credentials. So here, what we are using is, if I can go inside the step definition, I'm using this dynamic data, dynamic email over here. Okay, so what we can do, we can get the data from the utils, okay, from util over here from the static data. Okay, so for that, what we can do, I go over here and I can see say something like newly created login using newly created dynamic dynamic credentials. Okay, so for that we need to also change the step definition over here. I can say dynamic. Okay, and here also credential type. All right, so this is the argument that will be passing for these because we need to use something like this, dynamic or static, correct? So either we can pass in here dynamic or static, both should work. Okay, here you can see there is um, some notification over here. It seems because we need to also modify this all step definition where is being used this this particular thing. Okay, static or dynamic. Okay, so for that, we'll change that also. Here, what we need to do is we need to change, check, maybe I can say let type, okay, something like this. Then if credential equals, I can say dynamic. Okay, if it is dynamic, then what I need to use is this particular thing, util dot dynamic. So I would say type equal to this, or maybe yeah, you can say the email or something, email. Okay, final email, or maybe username or whatever you can say. All right, else, uh, or else if this is static, then I need to use static one. Okay, so for that I can say here the static data dot email. Okay, if I go till the static data, so it is getting from here this email. All right, and what else? I need to change here also. This is the email only, and the logs also I can change based on that. I would say this is for dynamic. All right, so here same, either static or dynamic you need to use in all. Wherever you can see there is a notification over here. Okay, so this is also basically this should be the static, because we are using the static data for this last two scenarios. Created static. Okay, you can see the error gone, and this one is dynamic. Okay, we are reading it from the global variable. All right, so I can see there is no more error. So let's run it and we can see if there is any error, then we can fix it. Okay, okay, it's launching the browser, and I'll just pause it over here. Okay, after run finish, you can see there are some error over here. If I go to the exact error log, so yeah, obviously there are certain places where we are asserting the email doesn't match, because this is we need to change a bit somewhere where that we are still using the old code, where we are using the global variable. All right, so in that case, whether we need to uh, use the dynamic or the static one, right? So that's why you can see this name also differs, the name of the product also. Okay, all right, so for that what I need to do is we can also check over here. If I go to error message, and I can fix one by one what exactly and which step definition is getting failed. All right, so the first of all, maybe I go here. Okay, TC003, because TC3 and TC4 got failed. These two scenario got passed already, where we are using the dynamic one. Okay, for the static one itself, it got failed. All right, so what I need to do here, I go to this particular page. All right, so here using the you can see we are using this dynamic data. Instead of that, what we can do is we can use the static data. All right, yeah, this two scenario need to use the static data. Then the next one is here, contact us page. So similar way, the static data. And what else? Yeah, let's see whether this works or not. If not, we need to change somewhere else also. Okay, it's running the feature file. Okay, so now you can see all tests got passed. Fine. All right. You can also use the JSON file, all right, instead of utils.js. Okay, this data, you can also have a JSON file where you can also get all the test data, or maybe some external file if you want. But I think for this case, I think this is okay within this file itself. Or you can have one constant file or something like that, where you can get all the data there. So the next thing that we will be learning is about tagging. Okay, so for each feature file, as we know, we can have a different scenarios. Like if we want to only run a certain scenarios due to bug fix or something, so no need to run all the scenarios for that, right? So if you want to run a specific scenario, you can also do using tagging, right? Or a couple of scenarios grouping by. Okay, so for that, in Cucumber we use tagging, something like that. So this is a login scenario and sign up scenario. Okay, so this is a critical scenario. So I can have like tag as sanity or smoke. Okay, I can mention this also sanity. Okay, @ sanity. And these two scenarios, for our case, maybe it's not that important. For say, let's say, let's assume that these two scenarios are not that much important, right? So what we'll do, we'll make it as a regression. Okay, whenever we run the whole regression suite, then only we'll be running this particular thing. Okay, you can write a regression, and here also. Fine. So how we can run these specific tags, okay, in Cucumber? So what you need to do, you need to go to your uh, package.json, right? Or maybe you can also, there are a couple of ways basically. So if you see in here in in the config file itself, so there is an option over here within the Cucumber options. In here, you can see tag expression. Either you can mention over here like sanity, then it will run only sanity when just you run your npm run test. Then it will just come here and check whether this is the sanity or not. Okay. Otherwise, you can do also, you can override this tag expression from package.json. Okay. So if you see here, npm run test that normally we do, basically it will run this wdio config js. Okay, so here we can override this value, basically this tag expression. How to do that? Okay, so I can go here and just write this cucumber option tag expression other sanity. So I would say test. Okay, something meaningful that I'm only running the sanity one. Okay, similarly, you can also, if you want to run only regression, okay, you can have one more tag over here, regression. Okay, so similarly, you can have multiple, you can add multiple this kind of tests. Okay, test regression, test Android, test iOS, something like that, so that you can run whenever you want to run in the pipeline CI integration. If you do, you just need to run that particular tag itself. Okay, so that will uh, run your test based on your tags, right? Okay, so let's run this sanity one. Let's see whether this sanity itself is running or not. Okay, so for that, what you need to do is need to run npm run then test sanity. Okay, whatever you name over here, the key I need to provide here, and then it should go and run only the sanity present within this feature file. Okay, let's see whether this works. Okay, so there is some issue over here. Let's see. Sanity. Okay, so basically I forgot one more, this one, quote. Okay, let's run it again. Okay, this time is launching the browser. Let's see whether this runs only 2 or not. Okay, so now if you see here, there is only 2 scenario got executed. Okay, the first one and second one based on this tag. So similarly, it will run if I just provide this regression, then it will also run the last 2. Okay, that also I can just run it. npm run regression. Okay, so it will also fail here. Let me rerun it. Okay, so make sure you provide this single quote over here. Okay, this is failing because if you see the scenario 3, I am in the sign in page. Here we are not opening any browser. All right, so to make it independent, each of the scenario, you need to make sure whether this initial condition should be met. So if I use this, I'm on the home page. So basically in this step we are navigating to this home page, right, opening the URL and all. But in this case we don't have any, so what I need to do is I just copy and paste over here. Okay, I'm on the home page, then I'm on the sign in page. Let's see whether this works. Because it will run only the regression, third and fourth scenario. Okay, so it will go to that particular page, home page, then it will check whether this is sign in or not. Then it will just sign out and perform the sign in action. Okay, it will go just sign in. Should work fine now. Okay, now you can see all tests got passed, 3 and 4. Okay, 3 and 4 got passed. If you want to run all the scenarios, also you can provide instead of regression here. Normally regression means all of the scenarios. You can also do in here. Okay, so if you run this regression in the feature label tag, then it will run everything present within that feature. So you don't need to provide explicitly for here. Okay, so when you run the tag with the regression, it will run everything including the sanity also. Fine. Yeah, and in case of sanity, only these 2 it should work. Okay, so that's all for this particular video, and in the next video what we're gonna do is we try to integrate this whatever we have done, okay, till now. We'll integrate with the CI either in the GitHub Actions or maybe GitLab. Then after that, in the upcoming videos, we'll do some more integration with the Jenkins, then Docker, okay, those kind of things that we'll be doing in the upcoming videos. Also some cross-browser testing, then API integration also. We'll try to add more on this. Okay, I'll add this whatever we have done in this particular session. I'll add one more branch over here, YouTube class 3, and you can also get all this code from this particular session in here. Okay, just clone this and you can start using this. Okay. Also, please subscribe and like and share with your friends as well. Okay, so for upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.